Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jeff, and today we're going to be going over the weekly devlog that the developer for Death Must Die has started. Alright, so first off, I'm just going to read this here. This is the start of the weekly update. We're less than a month out now. This was from March 10th, which is a little over a week after this video is going to be posted. There's been a second log posted after this, which is why I decided to do the video, because the stuff in the second devlog is so interesting to me. And I'm very excited about it, but I need to go over the first part first. So let's go ahead and do that now. Hello everyone, we are still about a month off from the release of the Act 2 update, but we want to start sharing some of what we've been doing behind the curtains. Some of you are already asking why the update is taking so long. It's been since November. For the record, they have done some balance patches and fixed some stuff, and we got some Christmas goodies, but that is the only thing that's happened since then. So it's been a little while. Anyways, we wanted to scale the game to become more than what it currently is, and so we didn't want to just reskin the old act or simply add more content of the same type. I very much appreciate that. Our process since the November release has been to collect all the player feedback and identify the common issues people were having. Things like the attack movement penalty, item binding, build and wave variety, etc. We then spent a lot of time thinking about the issues and how to best solve them, trying out various approaches until finding ones that work. We chose some of the more costly solutions in terms of development time, as they involved adding in a lot more animations, rebalancing large parts of the game from scratch, and refactoring the existing code base. I want to interject here and say, I spent a lot of time on the Discord around the launch of the game talking to developers about this myself. And the ideas were pitched around of, well, should we, certain things that they wanted to do were going to be monetarily expensive and time expensive, which, kind of the same thing, right? But, so they weren't necessarily considering these options at first, but specifically one of the things I suggested has made it in here, and it is very costly, and you're going to see here in a little bit. But it is extremely exciting to me that this developer has decided to, invest in the future of this game, as opposed to, we're going to get reskins like what happens, unfortunately, to some other roguelikes in this genre. Because these reworks were interconnected, we couldn't break them down into weekly or monthly updates. However, moving forward, this will allow us to add in more interesting features that we hope will serve and make the game better at large. A good example of this is a new monster AI system, words, which we want to share with you today. We intend to make these devlogs a weekly thing to keep you guys updated on development, which is awesome. They've gone kind of silent, and they've mentioned it in the Discord. Like, they let us know that they were going to be silent, and we said, yeah, it's fine, just, work on the game, do what you got to do. Because I think that's fair on a small team. They were 3 people, they've added a person, so that's also something. So, as far as the new AI system go, I'm not going to talk about this too much because I am not a coding expert. I will say this is the Act 2 boss, the Mummy. I think the first Act 2 boss, the Mummy. So like the equivalent of the twin gargoyles right now in Act 1, which he looks pretty cool. The art is continuously fantastic. Some of the better pixel art in the just on Steam in general. My understanding after going through this is basically what they have done is created a system which is going to future-proof their monster design. Previously, at least this is the way it reads to me, is that each individual like boss or elite enemy had a certain like if this then that sort of Boolean structure to it that they had to manually do for each monster in each event. It appears to me what they've done here is they've kind of segmented that off so that they can use that for any monster going forward and make the AI much more dynamic. If you want to dive more into this, the post is on Steam. You can find it on the Discord. I'm sure people with more know-how will be able to describe this better, but that's my best early interpretation of it as someone with not a great amount of experience, especially in AI design, but basic coding knowledge. Past that, we move on a little bit further. We get to this image, or this GIF here, which is of a little, I'm gonna say dune crawler, because it's basically the enemy from Diablo 2, the desert, that jumps over, except he's got a laser beam. There was discussion in the community as to whether this is a boss or not. I'm kind of the opinion that this is an elite, similar to the like elite spectral assassins that you'll find in the first act, but feel free to let me know what you think in the comments. I think it looks pretty neat myself. But that was the first dev update. Now let's move on to the second one, and the part that has me like extremely excited. So last time was more technical. This time I wanted to switch it up and talk more about game design. Releasing the early access has been great for collecting player feedback and identifying common problems with the game. We identified a cluster of problems around the main attack, namely attack movement penalty. This is probably the single biggest complaint about the game. I agree that it is, based on like their feedback and like the info they've gotten. It's the most complaints I've seen. I personally don't have as much problems with it, but it does make it can feel bad at times. Attacks feel underwhelming. Yes, they do. Melee heroes are too similar in their attacks. Yes, they are. And attack-based builds are inferior to spell-based builds. About 1,000,000%. As someone to put 200 hours into this game, complete 100% achievements, and I did that in the first 2 months. Like 200 hours in the first 2 months. Yeah, it's way based on spells, and attacks are like, if you want to build an attack build, you got to go way out of your way. Anyways, they're going to talk more about number 4 next week, which if you guys want to see more of that, let me know in the comments, and I will go over that dev update next week when it happens, right? But anyways, we're going to focus on the attack movement penalty, how attacks feel, and the heroes, like, attacks feel too similar right now. So the attack movement penalty was meant to be a tactical consideration, making a trade-off between dealing more damage versus better mobility. In practice, however, this has been widely described as clunky and slowing the game down. This is particularly bad for players who want to play with auto attack on. That I agree with. This game is almost unplayable with auto attack because of the attack movement penalty if you want to play at any sort of higher difficulty. I mean, you can do it, but you have to be very experienced at the game. And it, like, why have auto attack if you have that feature, right? They are conflicting principles. Also, since you're facing off against hordes of enemies, the decision of attacking versus not attacking barely comes into play. So we've been testing internally without the movement penalty, and we really like it. And that's good enough for me. It makes the game more dynamic and the combat more satisfying, and as a bonus, we're also improving the auto attack. Now your hero will attack only if there is an enemy in attack range. That's super nice for people who want to auto attack. A lot of times when you're playing this type of games, you just want to chill. You want to one-hand it, right? Sometimes you just feel like, I want to just move around and WASD, no mouse, whatever. Now I think you're going to be able to. However, during our testing, the attacks still felt underwhelming. Attacking is one of the main actions you can do, and we knew we needed to spice them up. So we turned this. All right, I'm going to stop here for a second. I want to go over something. So one of the biggest feel goods of this game is when you take your first upgrade from Summer and you turn Averon the Knight's regular sword attack into a flaming sword attack. You get the fire animation. It looks great. The actual swing doesn't change. Now, the swing doesn't change at all. That's important. However, the problem is when you lose your first run, inevitably, because that's the way the game's designed, in your second run, when you take, let's say, Winter, and you take her basic attack, what you'll notice is that the only thing that's changed is now you're swinging with a bluer sword rather than a fire sword, like an ice attack. So functionally nothing has changed. The problem is this feels very underwhelming when you combine it with the fact that attack-based builds are significantly worse than spell-based builds. So this is the specific thing that I made a whole post and like lots of comments with developers about, is this specific issue. So they've actually spent the time and changed it. And what it looks like now is going to turn into something like this. And I think this is incredible. And now this is incredible for 3 reasons, because not only is there now 3 animations, I'm skipping ahead in the devlog here, but each attack is going to have its own properties. So what that means is that they're going to be able to change the damage effects on hit effects, you know, range, speed of each individual part of an attack. That leads to a crazy amount of possibilities in the future, not just for the current characters, but any future characters they're adding. We know the next character is an archer, so it probably won't really apply to the archer. The range characters kind of do this stuff already, like Maris is a good example. But if we look down a little further, we see that Scotty has an incredible looking jumping slash, which really like separates her from Averon the Knight, who's the more, you know, the sword and shield warrior guy, into the claymore wielding Scotty. And I feel like that's getting that class fantasy a little bit better than it was before. And by little, I mean like a significant amount. Like I was very excited when I saw this. Like I was like really shocked. So I'm extremely excited. The Act 2 update is coming in April. We're say about mid-April right now. They did set a final date, but we don't know if they're like the final date is like the date it's coming, but we know that's like the last day. I think it was like April 20th. Doesn't really matter, just know it's coming in April before then. That's it for the dev update 1 and 2. If you want to see more of this, I will gladly go over dev update 3 because I'm very curious as to what's coming in that and how they're going to make attack builds better. But I'm personally very excited because, again, this is one of my favorite games. It's already among my top played games on Steam, which is very impressive. So anyways, if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, all that jazz. I really appreciate everyone watching. Thanks for the feedback, and I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful day. Jeff out. Bye.